Hey everybody, this is Lord Magicus, and this week we're going to go and play more of the People's Canon. That's right, we're on Charbelcher for this week. So I already put up some Merfolk content for this week, actually. I played a little bit of Merfolk in 93-94, or you might know the format as Old School. So you should check that out. It was pretty interesting. We might do that again at some point, but this week I want to spend some time with Belcher because we haven't done this in a while. We've only played like one league on this channel with it. I play a little bit with it in my free time, but you know, I feel like we need to cover other decks than Merfolk every once in a while, so we have some balance in the force. You should at least like have one other deck that you are proficient with that should probably be different and like fundamentally from whatever your primary deck is, so that way at any given point, if your main deck is not faring too well, or if you feel like you need a break from it for whatever reason, you have something that you can switch to. And if they're on like opposite ends of the spectrum, like you have like a fair creature deck, then having like a unfair like combo deck like this it's good, because very rarely are both of them going to be bad at the same time. So that way you should always have at least one good deck to play at any given point. So like this is a pretty good complement to Merfolk in order to have something that's relevant and modern basically all the time. Now I'm not saying that I think Merfolk is unplayable right now or anything like that, but I am saying that this is the other deck that I choose to specialize in, so we should play it every once in a while. Yeah, I have some skill with this, so we should, show it off to the world. Let's teach people how to belch them out. So let's take a look at our deck list here. Alright. So the last time that we played, I believe we had Chalice of the Void and Blood Moon in the main deck. I decided that I really like the Blood Moon. I'm not as sure that we need the Chalice in the main. So what I've done is I replaced like the Chalice with more interaction. So we have Pax here and a Veil of Summer. The Veil of Summer it's better when you cast the Reforge the Soul with the extra mana up. So if you have 3 lands in play when you cast Reforge the Soul, that means you should have at least 1 extra mana to cast the Veil of Summer in your card pile. Can we do it like this? I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, I think this will work. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Reforge piles for a second here, and oof. Okay. So when you cast Reforge the Soul, this card miracles so that each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. Now, that might seem, okay, well, that drawing 7 random cards is not going to help us, but we have Recross the Paths. So when we cast this card, because we have no actual lands in our deck, this card is effectively Doomsday. So for 3 mana, we stack our entire deck. So we reveal our entire library, because you reveal cards until you reveal lands, which we don't have. So the whole deck gets revealed, and then it goes on the bottom of the deck in any order. So it effectively just lets us stack the deck. You clash with the opponent, and if you win, you return Recross the Path to its owner's hand. So fantastic. So what do we want to do? Well, actually, we don't want to put Reforge on there first. What you should do is you want to put like Turn Timber on as like the top card of your deck, and then Reforge the Soul goes underneath it. And the reason is that this is a 7 mana card. So the clash means that you're going to reveal the top card, and your opponent will also reveal their top card. Whoever has the card with the higher converted mana cost wins the clash. By winning the clash, we get to put Recross the Paths back in our hand, which is important because say this Reforge the Soul fails. If we go to cast it and the opponent like counters it and we don't have an answer for it, well, we have the Recross in our hand. Because this list is playing, 2 Reforges, we have a second chance at trying to set up a combo turn 2 turns from then. Which is not perfect, but against some of the slower decks, that might be enough time to figure out some way to win the game. I mean, even if you don't have this, like, still having another recross in your hand gives you some way to say, okay, what sequence of cards would I need to draw in order to have any shot of winning this game? So maybe you will even put something like a Simian Spirit Guide and then Iron Crag and then Goblin Charbelcher in on top like that afterwards. So, yeah, like being able to put this back in your hand is just kind of a safety net. So you should always put the turn timber on top so you can reveal it to this, and then you're going to put this in the bottom of the library. So, all right, now we have to look at, okay, Reforge. So what do I need to win the game here? Well, it's actually pretty simple. So usually you will have either 2 or 3 mana in play when, or lands in play when you cast Recross. Sometimes you might use like, you know, a Spirit Guide to cast this, or you might, you know, go like Pyretic Ritual into Manamorphose to get the grain and cast it that way. So you could actually just have 2 lands in play. If you have 3 lands in play, your lines of play open up a little bit. But the basic pile here is going to look something like this. And so this is what you actually need to win. But the addition of Iron Crag feat means you only need 6 cards to actually go off here. 2 Spirit Guides, that gives you 2, Pyretic for 3, Pyretic for 4, and then Iron Crag will take your 4 and turn it into 7 mana. You can cast exactly 1 more spell, which will be Goblin Charbelcher, and that's enough mana to cast it and activate it for usually around 40-ish damage. And that should kill your opponent most of the time. This means you have 1 extra spot here. Now, the Pact of Negations, which, where are they? They're over here. There doesn't particularly help a whole lot in these kind of piles, because, and if your opponent has something like Force of Negation, you can't protect the Charbelcher with Pact, because Iron Crag means you can only cast 1 more spell. However, if you go into the combo turn with 1 extra mana, you can actually do something like Manamorphose, and you put a Veil of Summer in this pile. Because if they're waiting for you to actually cast this Charbelcher, that's not going to work, because you can just, you know, Spirit Guide, Ritual, Manamorphose, add 1 green and 4 red, then, you know, a Veil of Summer, combo off. If the extra land you have in play is a green source, then that's even easier, because you don't even need the Manamorphose then. You can actually just cast Veil of Summer as your first spell. She'll bait out the counter spell that they just drew, assuming that you're up against a counter spell deck where this is going to matter. So, and then you have your 6 cards to combo with. So a pile might look like this. That's totally fine. However, there's some other tricks that you can employ though with Reforge the Soul, and I want to look at one of them quick. Because I'm playing 2 in my deck, I can actually do things like this. So, if you see here, if I don't have a Pact of Negation in my hand to protect the Reforge the Soul when I actually combo off, one thing that I can actually do here is double stack Reforge the Souls. And this means that if I go to cast this Reforge the Soul and the opponent counters it, well, guess what? My next card I'm going to draw is another Reforge the Soul that they're probably not going to be prepared for. So this Reforge will draw into these 7 cards, but if they counter this one, then this Reforge will draw into these 7 cards, and either pile is capable of winning. However, the second pile has a Veil in it as well, so if you have that extra mana, it'll be great. But double stacking the Reforges this way lets you beat a counterspell up front, which might be relevant. So it's sometimes that might be the difference between, you know, if you go for this combo, they may assume, okay, well, there's no way they can win next turn because I just countered the Reforge, but this might be enough to just catch them off guard. Maybe they'll tap out and, you know, just play like a Jace or something, and all of a sudden, you know, they're brainstorming, and then you untap and they're dead. So it's just one trick to keep in mind. And if you also notice here how many cards we have, and you can go past just stacking 7 cards on top of your deck. So here, you know, we're like building piles that are like 9 cards deep. And there is also reason that Charbelcher should probably not be the bottom card in your pile. Just in case, you know, maybe Reforge does get countered. You know, maybe they counter this one and this one. Well, if you only have 3 lands in play, you might want to do something like this. So, okay, so Reforge, they countered this one. Reforge, they counter this one. So then the turn after, okay, you draw a Spirit Guide, and then the next turn you actually draw the Charbelcher, which you can pitch the Spirit Guide, tap your 3 mana from your lands to get it into play, and then you actually have you can activate it using your lands in play. So you gotta try to keep that sort of stuff in mind when you're stacking your deck. Like, don't just automatically make Charbelcher like the 7th card in your pile. It's very likely you want to keep the Charbelcher as close to the top of the deck as you can, just in case things go really wrong. Then you actually have a better chance of, like, if the game is going to drag out, well, you might get like a second or third last ditch effort to try to win the game with this thing. So just something worth keeping in mind. Do I want to say anything else about this main deck? Not particularly. I guess just the only other thing I would say is that Blood Moon is almost as good as Belcher is at winning the game. There's a lot of decks where if you just like turn 1 or turn 2 a Blood Moon, they're not going to be able to do anything for quite a while. It'll give you all the time in the universe to set up this kill with Belcher. So you can kind of look at Blood Moon as a win condition in that regard, where it slows them down so much that it gives you almost infinite time to get this off. Alright, let's go back to card view. Actually, you know what? No, there is one other thing we should look at here. And I had 1 extra slot in my deck, which you couldn't put as like another Pact of Negation, but there's always the possibility that you run up against a Karn the Great Creator deck. And the thing is, against Karn the Great Creator, this deck is going to have a huge problem trying to kill him. So, with Karn, you can't use the Belcher. The Belcher is going to be turned offline because you can't activate artifacts. So, I do have 1 copy of Empty the Warrens in my deck. It's an alternate win condition. You can create stacks, or you can create piles where you just make like a bajillion Goblin tokens and try to win the game. So you might do something like Reforge. You know, you may, if you only have 2 mana, you have to go like Spirit Guide here. But so you go like Reforge, just go like Morphos. These are free to put in here, so Ritual. You actually don't want to put Iron Crag in this sort of pile. And remember, these effectively only count as they're cycling each time, so they don't actually like count as a card in your pile. So they are mana neutral and they draw a card. So that's 4, 5, 6. And then you can even do like this. You know, and you actually, I think you have room for like 1 more spell here, right? Yeah. So here, so like, look, this is like a double Reforged pile that has Empty the Warrens in it. So this would be like a stack that we'd actually want to use Empty the Warrens with. If we see them play Karn, you know, we might have to recross the paths into something like this because maybe the only legitimate chance you have of beating it. So what'll happen is you Miracle Reforge the Soul. You go into 2 mana here. and then you're just increasing your spell count with Manamorphose. So you're at 2, 3, 4. You cast this Desperate Ritual, splicing the other one onto it. So it'll actually go from 4 to this one. We'll add 6, 7. Cast Reforge here. You still have 2 mana floating. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And yeah, and at this, yeah, you could put like any other spell here, I guess, with it. You'll have 8 mana with this, so probably like a good idea would be something like, or to jam like a Veil into one of these piles. I guess you might want to put it down here and just put one of these Manamorphose like this. And then you could put like any other nonsense card in here. It doesn't matter. I mean, at the point where the second Reforge is resolved, like, it probably is not going to be relevant, but you can then, I guess, do something like this. So then, yeah, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, this is definitely possible. Or maybe instead of Veil, you might just put a second Pact here, but this will get you enough goblins that if you attack with them all, you'll win the game. The only other thing, though, is I don't have the Mass Hysteria in them. So there is one in my sideboard, which I think I'm going to keep that there. I'm unsure if I should have the Mass Hysteria in the sideboard or if I should just be playing like a second Nature's Claim, but I think I'm going to try it for now. The Mass Hysteria gives them all haste, so if we do this, then we could actually say, you know what, I don't care about this. I would put like Mass Hysteria in the slot so these can attack and win in the same turn that we do this. So this is kind of the plan B. If something bad happens and we can't win with Charbelcher, you can still, you know, create you can stack your deck to win with Empty the Warrens and make like a bajillion tokens and just hope that your opponent does not have an answer for like 40 goblins. It's like if we're looking here, to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, yeah. We're at like 30 goblins. That should be enough to get the job done. And it also gives you some chump blockers in case they're attacking with like a Death Shadow or something. Or, you know, maybe like Tarmogoyfs. You have a couple you can throw away, but, you know, 30 goblins should be enough to kill them. Yeah, so that is the plan B of this deck. Okay, now we can go back to this view. So, you can see Recross the Paths is incredibly... You have to, like, plan very, very far ahead when you cast this spell. You have to kind of know which game, or what your game plan is going to be, how far you want to stack your deck to, and what cards you intend to play around so that you can properly put the correct countermeasures in the right spots with it. It's complicated. This is the thinking man's combo deck that wins in turn 2 sometimes. I mean, yeah, for all the talk of like there being like brain dead combo, but this is probably not one of them. This is a lot like Doomsday and Legacy, where this card is one of like it has to be like one of the most complicated cards in this entire format, and it's not intended to be used this way, but you end up like trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to win this game, and I have to stack my deck like, you know, potentially like 20 cards deep just in order to do so. It's insane. So yeah, that covers all the stuff we have in the main deck. What else? Yeah, we'll look at the sideboard quick here. Leyline of Sanctity, we just want to bring this in against discard decks. I mean, it's going to be hard to assemble a combo if they keep ripping our hand apart with Thoughtseize, so it's hedges against that. And I mean, against some number of them, Blood Moon's probably not that good. Like against Death Shadow, Blood Moon's probably not going to be very good because they're like a red-black mana base anyway, and they have like basic swamps, so they only need like one. So it's a pretty easy siding, or yeah, pretty easy decision to side out like Blood Moon for ley lines against them. If we're up against a Karn the Great Creator deck, we might consider siding in Collected Company, Thassa's Oracle, and Undercity Informer. Also, probably the Noxious Revival comes in against those decks too, and I'll talk about that in a second. The idea with Collected Company is that you can use Recross the Paths to set up sort of like a similar sort of win condition with Charbelcher, except instead of actually winning with Belcher, what you're going to do is you'll mana Morphos into a green mana. So you only need 5 mana to win this. You get your green mana off Morphos, cast Collected Company, and guess what? Right under Company is going to be Undercity Informer, Thassa's Oracle. So if you remember, Undercity Informer is played in the Oops All Spells deck. 3 mana. You use the 5th mana to actually sacrifice this creature to mill your entire deck. And Oracle's trigger is already on the stack, so your deck is milled, and then this trigger will win the game. So Collected Company is an alternate way you can beat stuff like Karn the Great Creator, and it's not vulnerable to them finding something like, say, Engineered Explosives, or maybe Ensnaring Bridge if they can empty their hand, or like Ratchet Bomb. They're not going to be able to get rid of everything that way. So the Empty the Warren plan is better than the Belcher plan against Karn, but it's still not as good as the Company plan against them. However, the trade-off to this is sometimes Empty the Warrens is something you can just, like, turn 1, just make, like, 8 Goblin tokens or something, and that might be enough to win the game on its own, because you can still win by, like, turn 3 just by attacking with 8 1/1s. You know, you might just keep a hand that has, like, land, ritual, Warrens. Just go off like that, you know. So this can potentially be a win condition even when you don't recross. Collected Company is never going to win. I should say it's almost never going to win you the game unless you use recross. The odds that it's going to find 2 one-ofs in the top 6 cards of your deck, incredibly low. So just assume if you haven't cast Recross that Company is just a dead card. Now, one thing, now we'll look at this Noxious Revival. So one thing that's kind of bad about this alternate win condition besides that, if you draw the combo pieces, the Reforge the Soul is going to make you discard them. And that's not good because they need to be in your deck in order for you to actually combo off with that. So there's 3 cards here that if you basically start with them in your hand, it's like you've mulliganed already. Or because you have to like mulligan that hand, or otherwise this is going to be offline. So one way that we can kind of hedge against this is playing Noxious Revival in the deck. This means if we have one of these copies of these cards in our hand when we cast the Reforge the Soul, we can actually, discard it and then as part of our pile use Noxious Revival to put a card back on top of the deck. So, if it's a creature in our hands, we'll cast the Collected Company. In response to Company, then we cast the Noxious Revival, put whatever creature we discarded on top of the deck, and then Company can find it. Or, if we discarded the Company, we make all of our mana, we cast Noxious Revival, put the Company on top, and then Mana Morphos, make the green mana, and then we can combo off with Company that way. So, yeah, and then all we have to do is just make sure that these are stacked so they're like cards 8 and 9, or I should say, yeah, they should actually be 8 and 9 because the first one is going to be this, and then you draw 7. So, or 9 and or actually okay, it might be 9 and 10. It depends. It depends on how you want to count, whether you count the Reforge or not. So, but yeah, so. The Noxious helps us hedge against, accidentally drawing a combo piece as part of this, but the Collected Company kill actually helps us beat stuff like Heliod Company gaining infinite life, and it helps us beat stuff like Karn the Great Creator where Belcher is kind of weak. And Empty the Warrens is like still not great against it, but it's better than this, so we might bring that in there. Other cards, extra copies of Veil of Summer just in case we go up against the control decks. Also, against those decks, 2 copies of Fry, and the reason for this is that Teferi Time Raveler turns off our miracles. So if they cast Teferi, that means you can't cast spells except during your main phase, and Reforge the Soul, when you miracle it, is going to be during your draw phase or on your opponent's turn. Neither of which, you do it on your opponent's turn by cycling Manamorphose in their turn, but neither of which you can actually cast because of Teferi, so if they cast Teferi, your Reforge the Soul lines are all offline. So Fry is probably the best way to kill Teferi. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker that's white or blue, and it is uncounterable. It's also a card that can kill things like Thalia, which is really annoying. Now, we have like stuff like Spikefield Hazard in our deck that can already kill Thalia, and in some weird scenarios, like we might use Shatterskull Smashing to kill a creature or something, but Fry is going to very, very likely be the card that we want to kill some of these important things, so yeah, there's a couple other like fringe creatures that this might kill that are relevant to us, but for the most part it's here to kill Teferi, because it's going to be incredibly hard for us to combo off versus him. It also turns off all of our counter magic, so having an uncounterable way to get rid of Teferi to re-enable our Veils and Pacts, pretty good. I also have one random Nature's Claim. If we want to like hedge against something like Pithing Needle or Fire Extinct Revoker, things of that sort, Stony Silence, this is a way to beat that. Also, 1 basic mountain in the sideboard. This is important because Cleansing Wildfire is something that a lot of these like Omnath decks, they play 2 in the sideboard. They're almost definitely bringing them in against us because they just see it, okay, 2 mana Stone Rain. But the thing is, you can next level them by bringing in a mountain and replacing, like, say, a Valakut's Awakening with it. So when they presumably, when they're gonna destroy one of your lands, you're actually not losing a land from that. So it's kind of a gotcha on them. And if we recross the paths, we can always just we can stack our deck and just put the mountain deep enough where Belcher could still kill them anyway. It does mean you'll have more clicking to go through, but it's fine. But it also means that like an early Belcher, if you're gonna like turn 1 or turn 2 this somehow, probably is in danger of not going deep enough, but there's still a lot of the times where it will go deep enough because it's a basic mountain, it actually deals double the damage, so as long as it's not in the top 10 cards, it should be fine. Yeah, so the odds are pretty in our favor anyway. So we'll have like a 75% chance roughly, I think, of killing them with like an early Belcher, even with the mountain in our deck. But like I said, it's a hedge against stuff like, you know, Field of Ruin and Cleansing Wildfire, where they're gonna try to disrupt our mana, and this just helps us stay on curve to actually win in turn 3 or 4. Okay, so I've talked about this list enough, and the games with this are usually pretty quick, so I expect the matches in this league to kind of fly by. I've probably talked about it longer than the actual match is going to be at this point, so I will see you in just a second here when we get into our match. Okay, here we go. We are on the draw. So this sets up a turn 3 kill, right? So I think we keep this. We go land, turn Timber, Desperate, Manamorphose, Recraw. I think we keep this. So Island, huh? Okay, well, we are pretty locked into this. That's interesting. So, they might be on the Kiki deck. We have multiple recrosses here, so I think what I'm gonna do, I will play this. We're gonna play a little bit patiently, try to bait out some counter magic. We just have to hope we don't draw the other Reforge. Yeah, this looks like they're setting up for a Kiki kill. I don't think the Blood Moon does anything. I think they have to counter this. Or they probably should, because if they don't, what I might do is I'll put Veil on top and then put the Reforge nonsense underneath it. I think that'll be fine. The only thing we'd be dead to is if they had like Exarch into Kiki, but I'm okay with that. Where is it here? Spirit Guide, Belcher, Spirit Guide. Actually, I could go for the Pact to protect it. I think I'm gonna put the Pact first, because they could draw into like Force of Negation. Okay, so we have a Turn Timber on top. So actually, let's put a Pact there, and then we'll put the Reforge. So we can Reforge, use Pact to protect it. Then we have Veil. Actually, how do I want to do? I guess Spirit Guide, Belcher, then Veil, Spirit Guide, Ritual, Iron Crag. I think that'll work. We'll put like another Spirit Guide and a Belcher there for safety. Okay. Maybe opt on top of their deck. So we win the clash. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So I think this is the safest way to try to beat them. Okay, Bolt Me is not going to do anything. Okay. So I have a Pact to protect my Reforge. What's also interesting here is I have Manamorphose. No, I guess we're just gonna pass and discard the Pact. Or no, not discard the Pact, discard a Recross. Okay. You're not doing anything, so that's good news for us. Yes, I would love to reveal this. So we're going all in here. We can beat like one counterspell up front and one counterspell on the backside. Like they have to know that like Veil is coming. Excellent. So here, I guess we just cast Veil first. Okay, so it means we get to combo off with impunity. Look at the cards. There we go. See? So they had Spell Snare, Cryptic, Archmage's Charm, Remand. Yeah, so they were... Okay, so this looks like just a regular Blue Moon list. I wonder if they have Kiki in their deck or not. I don't know. But, see, look, we didn't just go for it on the first turn. We actually, like, found a way to play around this. So this looks like it's a straight blue-red deck, so I'm not worried about something like Teferi. So I don't have to bring in Fry. But I probably do need to bring in these Veil of Summers. And I think the Blood Moon might not be that good, because they very well might be... They have Cryptic in their deck. They might be playing the Boil-proof mana base, though. Which means if they're playing a Boil-proof mana base, Blood Moon does turn off a lot of their stuff. They did play Basic Island, so they have some blue. The only thing Blood Moon turns off is, like, Cryptic Command. So I guess I could take out 2 of them. I guess it might be safe to take Empty the Warrens out for, like, Nature's Claim. So if they have, like, Pithing Needle, then this is a good way to beat it. I think, like, we should be able to win this pretty easily. Alright, well, okay, let me rephrase. I don't think it's going to be an easy victory. I think that we have the tools to beat this deck. So I think I want to keep 2 Blood Moons. The only thing we got to be wary of is, like, Force of Negation. Now, the Blood Moon does turn off our Veils, but, like I said, it turns off a lot of their mana, too, so... So let's see. So we have 4 lands here. We have Belcher too. There's a possibility I might cast this spell and get recovery. Do I keep this? It's slow. It's slow, it's going to give them time. They did keep 7 cards. You know what? Alright, I'm going to keep it. Okay. I mean, it does give us some kind of inevitability with this. That's probably good. Alright. Let's play this. Might want to cast this as a spell if the Belcher gets countered. It's assuming they don't Force of Negate it. Ooh, Thing in the Ice. Okay. I can beat that. Okay, well this is definitely... Okay, so because I have one of those in hand, it's probably safe to play this. And we can try to Spirit Guide one of them out next turn and then just play another one the turn after. Well, okay, so they have Archmage's Charm up now, so I am less inclined to just jam it. They're definitely keeping Counter Magic up. So I guess I'll just play it like this. Because then if I draw Veil of Summer, I can actually just I can play Veil and then play Belcher. Yeah. They could have like a Braid. They're not playing spells. They're just holding up counter spells this entire game, so that's fine with me. Deceiver Exarch. Oh, so they are going to go for Kiki, huh? Okay. Interesting. So does this mean you just have a win here? So what can I metamorphose into a way to win this? I guess we're gonna find out. Okay, so that's worth noting. So the problem is if I Pact of Negate this, I'm going to die. Okay. Yeah, we win. Okay, but that's fine. So they do have Kiki Jiki, so maybe this can actually kill the Deceiver Exarch. I don't know if I want to do that though. It's hard to say. It might be better than this Blood Moon. Okay. We'll do it like this. Okay, so they do have a combo finish, so we have to kind of be wary of that. No, we're not keeping this. I think this is better. This sets us up so that we only have one land, though. This hand just threatens to, like, win the game, I think. Oh, mulliganing to 5 does not seem like a great plan. So I definitely have to put this Reforge in the bottom if we keep this. So I have a land and just a bunch of rituals. Rituals are very bad because their counterspells will just wreck it. I don't know, I'm not going to keep it. Alright, I guess we're going to keep this. We'll put one Fry on the bottom and I guess a Manamorphose. This is actually fine, I guess. Okay. So I was not prepared for them to just combo and win the game. I mean, there was a risk of that, and I knew that, but they were very strongly representing just holding up a bunch of counter magic that whole time, and we had no way to actually beat a counter spell. Okay. Well, this is good. Lands mean that this is more likely to resolve. Reflecting Pool. Okay. I want to save the Simian Spirit Guide. I don't want to just burn it here. And we might employ a similar trick to last time. Oh, they have Cleansing Wildfire. Ugh. Yeah, that's gonna happen. I did not think to bring in the Mountain. Like, somehow it escaped me that this deck would be playing this card, even though they're red. So this is definitely, that was a mistake. I should have sided a land out for that. Guess what I want to do is pay 3 life and recross here and hope they don't have Force of Negation. They have Flusterstorm. That's surprising. All right. Okay. We're not, like, dead to them comboing yet, so they don't know we have Fry. We have time, I think. So I could cast this Recross again. If they just have, like, Deceiver Exarch, we're gonna die to it. Alright, let's pass for 1 turn and see what happens. Snapcaster Mage. So we would have got by that Flusterstorm. So it's a good thing we did not just jam there. I'm gonna Cleansing Wildfire me again. Fuck. Yeah. You have two of these. Oh my god. I want to try to wait for them to like tap out. Just play like Exarch. No, damn it. They're not going for this combo. Just smart, because they should not tap out. That's really dangerous. Don't tell me you have another one. Like, you're gonna snap Wildfire me? Fuck! Like, I'm getting super punished for not putting this mountain in the deck. But they have all these Snapcaster mages, so... Like... Yeah, that means that Flusterstorm would be countering my Recross. At some point, I'm gonna have to just go for this. I think this is a good spot to do it. They have another Flusterstorm, my god. Okay, you just have like literal everything. Alright, well, I mean, so they've cast 3 Cleansing Wildfires and 2 Flusterstorms, like... This is an amount of hate that's like really hard to beat, surprise. Like, they just came prepared for this in game 3. What are you gonna do here? Kiki is actually really good. This is also good because now Kiki Jiki represents an extra counter spell. So I'm gonna die if I don't do something, so I have to cast this Fry this next turn. I can only kill a Snapcaster Mage with it. So what can I Manamorphose into that's gonna help me? Probably not. There's not, like, I think we're very close to dead. I can only survive like one, and if they have a bolt, it's over anyway. Yeah, or you know what, it is actually like just, I think we are just dead. Okay, so we get our opportunity here. Which means they can only attack us for 4, so we like have to do something this turn or we are dead. So they might have like bolt and just kill us. Okay. Alright, well, damn it. Alright, so they won their game with their combo backed up by interaction both times. Alright, well, it was tough. I mean, we stole game 1 pretty well, but they maybe we should have been more aggressive in game 2. I definitely fucked up by not bringing in the basic mountain. I don't know what I was thinking. That was just a clear blunder. Like, that would have helped if we had 1 extra land in play, I think, but I don't know, like, even still, their hand seemed incredibly good game 3, so, like, I don't know if there's much we could have done against this. Like, I'm surprised that they have Flusterstorm. Like, what is this even for? Like, this card is not... I don't think it's particularly good in Modern at the moment. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I guess they just want to cast it to protect their combo from removal, but I think in general, like, this is just not very good. But it's something that we can't really play against. So they have like a silver bullet that is good against a very small portion of the metagame, I think, but we happen to be part of that small percent, so that is what it is. Like, it could have been correct to maybe have the Blood Moon, but I don't know that it really mattered, because like all of their stuff here is like they have the basic island and they can cast like all of this nonsense off of one basic island, so, and Kiki can still be cast even with the Blood Moon in place. I don't know if it really hurts them that much. I don't know if there's much, like, I don't know what else I could have done differently. I think, yeah, definitely this game they just had way too much interaction, so. Well, this definitely, like, the counterspell decks are going to be harder for us. We have ways to beat them, but, like, this one in particular, because they have the combo, like, it took away a ton of our time, like, to actually win this game. Yeah, we did not have inevitability on our side, like, they did, because they can just flash in their combo at the end step and just untap with it, which, that's rough, but it's okay. We'll go and we'll play more and maybe see how we do with the rest of this. So I will see you again tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.